Hey guys. Well, I did a review for TakeOver, so I might as well do a review for WrestleMania 37. Unfortunately, this show was delayed about 45 minutes because they were worried about some. They worried about lightning and then rain and open air arena, which usually wouldn't be so bad, but like I say, it was open roof arena, so Raymond James Stadium it was. 38 about 45 minutes, which was the same, but the other breaks. We can't really be in too much, I guess. Um, the first match, I was surprised by it, but not really, I guess. The first match was Drew McIntyre versus Bobby Lashley for the WP title. This was this was a good match. I think we all kind of expected Drew McIntyre to win. We all kind of resigned to that. Which, hey, I am Drew McIntyre, but Bobby did good with that title. This, like I said, it was a good match. At one point, Drew McIntyre hooks hooks him up with the Future Sock DDT. He's the one, and then he holds his head and feels over all three amigos for for a trio of Future Sock DDTs. But that doesn't put Yassi away. Towards the end, toward the end of the match, which there were several attempts at Bobby Yassi by the full Nelson, the hood yoke that he does, and McIntyre gets out of it. Toward the end of the match, and I didn't like this contrived part. I thought this was a little too much. Drew McIntyre was coming in for the Claymore, and Bobby Lashley was on the other side of the ring. Now, if you ask me, what should have happened is a spear by Bobby Lashley and then another spear by Bobby Lashley. But that's not what happened. Drew McIntyre just going for the Claymore, go doing his 3-2-1 thing. As he's running, MVP shouts something. Probably something about his mother, but I couldn't really tell. Probably something that he's not better than William Wallace or something. But I couldn't tell. I'm sure that's not what he said. Um, so MVP shouts something. Drew McIntyre gets distracted in a WWE title match at WrestleMania. Again, I repeat, Drew McIntyre gets distracted at the biggest match for supposed to be the biggest prize in WWE history. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? Why would you even fall for something like that? But baby faces are dumb when the story called for it, I suppose. Which again they didn't really call for it, but they did it for whatever reason. I wasn't the biggest fan of it, but thankfully the match doesn't end immediately after the distraction, which I appreciate a little bit. I appreciate them showing a little bit of drain on that. It still wasn't the best look for McIntyre or for Bobby Lashley, really. But it happens, so. Bobby Lashley Oxen Hood York for a good long while. McIntyre tried to get out of it. He tried to fight over the ropes and flip him over. But Bobby Lashley would not let go. Finally, Drew McIntyre just passed it out. So I guess that's kind of their way of making McIntyre strong, which I think he would have pretty strong anyway. He just got caught by the spear is how I would have played it. But since it was a good match, the right below, Bobby Lashley is still the W champion. Please give him a different nickname. Please. I hate the almighty Bobby Lashley. Go back to the Walking Armageddon. Go back to the Destroyer. Just whatever. Just no more almighty Bobby Lashley, please. But Bobby Lashley wins the third York. That's a good match. Next up, we have Seth Rollins versus Cesaro. This was a really great match. I mean, I'm not gonna go through every part in this match, but at one point there was a sequence which I'm sure you've all in everybody's memory. At one point there's a sequence where Seth Rollins run the Cesaro. Cesaro catches him in like a tilt roll, and he maneuvers him and hits the nuclear, and Seth Rollins kicks out, which he's pretty impressive. I mean, some people said he's overrated by the IWC. They say that about Ultimate too. I don't really know what that means, but in my opinion, he's very good. He should have got this running a long time ago. Cesaro wins not off that nuclear either, but off a second nuclear either, after a kick out of pedigree, and he delivers an uppercut in the nuclear, which is good. Like I say, he should have gotten that push a long time ago. Yes, he will go here. I wouldn't be surprised if WB found that if they don't keep up his momentum, because look, this is a guy who won the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal 7 years ago, and people after that, people saying, "All right, it's time for the last single points. It's time for him to really get youth and really show what he can do." It's 7 years later, and he's basically in the same position that he was at the start of that match. So I fully expect WB to flounder his momentum, but I hope they don't. Once in a blue moon, WB gets something right, I suppose. Now I may have gotten these mixed up. At one point, we had a fatal four-way number one contenders match for the women's title, for the tag women's title. I may have gotten the order of those matches mixed up, but I'm going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about it now anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah, I wasn't really invested in this match. I mean, got some good spots, some good storytelling with Naomi and Yana. Yana's improved a bit since I saw her, so that's good. But there was a few fun in this match, like with Naomi and Yana. It's always good to see Naomi. Highly underrated, in my opinion. Highly needs to, and what I mean by that is the company needs to do more with her. But I digress. There's some good spots. They get a WrestleMania payday. They eliminate Naomi and Yana eliminate I Billy Kay and someone else. I can't I can't remember who our tag partner was. That's just showing how much I used to care about this match. But but the Riot Squad went there, and Natalia and Tamina went there for whatever reason. Um, yeah, I want to talk about this so I don't forget because I thought this was just so funny. After Natalia and Tamina come out, Michael Cole said, and I'm quoting it verbatim, he said, Natalia said, it is time that we start giving up the names of our families. And I just went, okay, about 10 years too late for each of you, but, okay. Um, the Rice Squad, the Rice Squad had been full time. By the end of the match, I was fully behind the Rice Squad. I think everyone was. There was the whole year going on that didn't really go anywhere. Ruby's been kind of ruddy, but hopefully I'll just win the Rice Squad can get some momentum back. But no, um, Natalia, you're actually going for the soft suit on Ruby Riot. And then she tags in Tamina for whatever reason. And the commentators put this over at, oh, she just wants the best chance of winning. She just wants the best chance. Well, I mean, isn't that kind of burying your own finisher? Yeah, did you have major heat with Yev and Ruby, about a year ago at the table match involving Jim Neidhart? But yes, he tagged me in it. I mean, it's Super Guy Bath, which they call it Super Guy Bath. I thought they kind of retired that name, but they call it the Super Guy Bath. And Tamina wins. Another set of bodies for Sana and Nia to beat. I'd be very surprised if they did anything with Natalia to meet out there. But, it's a WrestleMania payday in front of a yacht crowd. So I guess that counts for something. And they'll be facing Nia and Shayna Baszler tonight on WrestleMania. And while on the subject, dude, it is so sad to see where Shayna Baszler is now. I mean, she went from either youngest reigning or second youngest reigning NXT Women's Champion in history to being jobbed out by Natalia in 10 seconds on Raw. And that is just all kinds of depressing. Heck, I'd go one step further. She went from a marquee match with Becky Lynch for the Raw Women's title to jobbing out to Natalia on Raw in 10 seconds. Dude, that is just all kinds of depressing. But it was a good match for what it was. Then we get, I think we get I think I'm getting all confused again. We get the Raw Tag Team title match. Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods against Omos and AJ Styles. I thought this was a really good match. this was a better match than I was expecting it to be. With AJ Styles and Kofi Kingston do most of the work. They like antagonizing Omos on the inside. They keep AJ away from Omos. But the problem is, with all that taunting, when Omos finally gets in there, he just wrecks these boys. He just eats them for lunch. I mean, he just completely decimates and destroys them. Omos looked, for the limited time he was in the ring, Omos looked really good. Omos looked really impressive. And I told my friend earlier this week, he said Moose in Impact Wrestling should go to WB. I said, I don't know, man. Big men rarely work out in WB. The only big man I can think of that ever worked out for WB in any significant sense is Undertaker. And maybe you could throw Big Show in there, but let's be honest, Big Show would never the deal that the company made him out to be. The only real big man I could think that's made any significance in that company was Undertaker. And you can maybe throw Kane in there as well. I forgot about Kane. But even that floundered a bit. Floundered a bit in his career. Was never as big as he should have been. But Omos, maybe they're gonna drop a rocket to, which I would like to see. I would like to see him either go for the Intercontinental title or the US title somewhere down the line. But the match ends when AJ Styles launches off of Omos into the phenomenal fall. Omos picks up Kofi Kingston and drills him with a massive spine buster. He's at Kofi's at 7 or 8 feet in the air. So I thought that was really impressive. And Omos and AJ Styles decimate the New Day to become the tag team champions. I'm interested to see where they go from here. I am. Next up, you had the match. Honestly, the match that I had the all expectations for. Bad Bunny and Damian Priest versus The Miz and John Morrison tag team match. Former WWE champion, former Intercontinental champion, former Intercontinental champion, former US champion for both these guys in The Miz and John Morrison. And Bad Bunny steps into the ring and just decimates them, which I guess is fair. I mean, because at the end of the day, they're The Miz and John Morrison. And they haven't been built up in any significant way in about a year. John Morrison, since he came back to the company. I wonder if he regrets coming back to the company now. Yeah, maybe he should have stayed with Impact, signed with Ring of Honor or AEW or something. I wonder if he does regret that. But like I say, Bad Bunny does get the majority of the offense here, which I was surprised by. I thought they do what they typically do in these celebrity tag team matches, and have the wrestler in Damien Priest do most of the work. Bad Bunny come in for a couple spots here and there, but ultimately they have Damien Priest do most of the work. But no, Bad Bunny dominates and pins The Miz for the 1-2-3. This was a good match for what it was. I don't know how they're going to use Bad Bunny going forward, but this was a good match for what it was. And yes, it was that right. Grammy award winning songwriter for whatever Grammys were nowadays, but Grammy award winning songwriter Bad Bunny pinned professional wrestler The Miz in the 1-2 to get the 1-2-3. All I got to say is thank God it wasn't the bigger name, because you know they would have done that with the bigger name that they could have. But yeah, Bad Bunny is impressive. I'm not gonna knock him on anything. I mean, he's done more in the WBs than I'll ever do probably. So I'm not gonna knock him for that. He sounded like he really enjoyed being in there, had a good time and stuff, which I can't fault the guy for that. I can't fault the guy for that. Like I say, Egyptian was just a myth. Egyptian wasn't a bigger name. Can you imagine if he pinned the Fiend or John Cena like that? But this was a good match for what it was. Better than I thought it'd be. Now, I don't need to see Bad Bunny coming out destroying wrestlers every week, but, you know, as a little attraction, I don't know exactly how many people he brought in, but as a little attraction, he's fine. Then we have the main event. Sasha Banks versus... Oh, no. How could I forget? We had the best wrestler in the world, Shane McMahon, versus Braun Strowman in a steel cage match. I can't tell you what this feud is about. I can't tell you why this feud happened. I can't tell you the logic of this feud. But this was a fun match for what it was. I mean, I still don't care about either one of them. I don't care about Braun Strowman, and I definitely do not care about Shane McMahon, which is a real shame, because in 2018, I was very high on Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman is one of the reasons why I said big men, unfortunately, haven't been working out as of yet for the WB. Even though they can work, even though they can cut a somewhat decent promo, they just haven't been working in the WB for some reason. And I say for some reason, it probably Vince McMahon, but this was a fun match for what I guess. Like I say, I still don't care about either one of them, but this was a fun match. It started when Braun Strowman was walking in the cage, and Elias and I think Elias was in that game. I know Jackson Riker was. Yeah, I think Elias was in there. Elias and Jackson Riker come to beat down Braun Strowman with the steel chair, focus on the egg. Now, this was my strategy. As much as I detest Shane McMahon, this was a this was a smart strategy. I mean, Saint Man gets Braun to the ring. He has way too much offense in my acting, but I guess Braun has an excuse. Um, I'm gonna skip to the end of this match because I don't care to relive all the fun that it put to me. But the end of the match, Saint Man is climbing. Oh, well, I don't backstory to how we got to this point. Braun Strowman and Saint Man are climbing the cage, and Saint Man takes like a paint cannon off the top of the cage. I don't know what it was, but he nails Braun Strowman in the face with it. Braun Strowman comes tumbling down, and I mean, okay, they don't win. I don't care anymore. Um, it needs this feud will be over. Hopefully, it probably won't, but you know, it's open. Um, so up that, Saint McMahon is climbing down to the cage, and Zayn takes it upon himself to taunt Braun Strowman a little bit more. I thought what he was going to do was try to come up the cage with an elbow. That would have been pretty cool, I guess. But no, he climbed down the cage and he takes it upon himself to taunt Braun Strowman a little bit. He puts his hands through the cage, which logically I don't know why you would do that, but he puts his hands through the cage. Braun Strowman like pops up, like a daisy, as Musa would say, and he pops up and he grabs Shane McMahon's hand through the cage, and he rips the cage apart. He either rips Shane, rips the metal off the cage. Still don't care about him, but that was pretty cool, I guess. Brings Shane McMahon in that way, and he grieves and brings Shane McMahon in that way. He gets Shane McMahon back to the top of the cage. He throws him off the top of the cage, and he earned from that. He earned from that Kevin Owens match because what he accidentally did in that Kevin Owens match was he had Kevin Owens in the same spot. He threw him, but he threw him on the opposite side of where he was supposed to throw him. So Kevin Owens ended up winning. He throws him in the right side of the ring that time. And he jumped down and literally, and I'm not making this up, he screamed, he bellowed at the top of the dome, "This is for everyone that has ever been called David!" Which, that was pretty painful. That's what this whole feud has been about? Because he called you dumb? Dude, I can't tell you what that was. But most of the Braun Strowman ended with the power slam. I think, I don't really remember. I think I backed out from that giant yawn. But I'm pretty sure it's the power slam. And Braun Strowman wins. And the announcers are celebrating some victory. I guess with some big accomplishment. I guess with some big achievement. At the end of the day, it was just Shane McMahon. I know they tout him as the best wrestler in the world, which they stopped using, by the way. But at the end of the day, it's just Shane McMahon. you. So I don't know what you expect to gain out of that on the team. Are you gonna go for a title? Are you gonna go for the Universal or the WB title of that victory? I don't think so. But hopefully this feud can be over now. Um, my feelings about Saint Man are the same feelings I have about Devin McMahon. Now, if I don't see either one of them for the rest of my life, it'll still be too soon. But hopefully this feud can be over now. Next matchup, we have Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks for the SmackDown Women's title in the Wrestlemania main event. This was a good match. Like I say, I won't talk about all the spots, but I will talk about a couple in particular. And one feeling I had. One spot in this match, thought acting very hilarious. He reminds you why she is a women's champion, why she won the great aggressors, some big knees on Bianca Belair, which was good. But one of my thoughts during this match was, I thought to myself, man, I do not care who wins this match. I do not care if Bianca wins. I do not care if Sasha wins. And for a while, I couldn't figure out exactly why. Because when I watched Bianca Belair try to topple Shayna Baszler for the NXT Women's title, I was fully behind Belair. I wanted Belair to be the champion. I wanted Belair to prove she's the strongest, she's the fastest, she's the best in NXT because she earned it. But through this match, I was thinking I just couldn't care who won. And for the longest time, after that, I couldn't figure it out. But I think I figured it out. The build hasn't been accurate yet, but that opens the door to another problem. The women's division on the main roster, and especially both women's titles, have just been, I don't want to say abysmal, because I think that's what the women's tag titles are, but they certainly haven't been as prestigious as they should be, let's just say that. They certainly haven't been treated with the same effect or the same levity that the main roster acts, the women's reviews and hinges on them and everything. But yeah, that's my basic thought on the match. Now toward the end of the match, I was rooting for Bianca to win toward the end of the match. And what he does is Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair fight each other. Sasha runs at Belair. And Belair whips Sasha Banks with the braid of her hair. And every time she does that, it just sounds like a gun going off. I don't know what she does, but every time she does that, it just sounds like a gun going off. But yeah, she went with the KOD off that, which is fine. She deserved it. Um, she certainly fared better than the odds of the NXT cards. She certainly fared better than Saint Abadia, which again is just depressing, just all kinds of depressing to think about. But, Bianca deserves this. She's fared better than most NXT cards do on the main roster, which I think it's just because they don't have any legitimate women in that division that feel big time anymore, because they haven't invested time in them. But I digress. She deserves it either way. And WrestleMania, WrestleMania that one is in the books. It goes off the air with Bianca Belair holding the towel in the air, holding Sarah the Belair, if you will. And I thought this was good. I'm looking forward to the night a little bit more, because tonight we get Matt Riddle versus Sheamus for the U.S. title. Now, Matt Riddle's another kind of worm that I think they haven't been using the best that they could have been using them. But I do enjoy seeing them in the ring. I enjoy seeing Matt Riddle and Sheamus in the ring together. So that'll be a good match. And then we have the match that one of the matches that I'm most looking forward to. Asuka versus Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's title. I'm already so much more invested in that than I was in the SmackDown Women's title match. And then we have the triple threat main event, the Tribal Chief, Roman Reigns versus the Leader of the S Movement, Daniel Bryan, versus the Ultimate Opportunity, the Rated R Ultimate Opportunity Edge for the Universal title. It's just gonna be a great night of action tonight. I'm very much looking forward to it. But guys, our review of WrestleMania Night 2 yet on tonight. And thank you for listening to my review, my mini rant and places. And I'll see you tonight, or whenever I see you. Maybe tomorrow, I haven't decided yet. But you have a good day.